Oh, hey, we're live. Good morning, painters. Sorry, I'm running a little late here, a little frantic. We're on the patio in Colorado. Good morning, painters. And we're here every Friday morning, 9 a.m., because we're here to help beginner plein air painters, painters get started in plein air painting, or if you've just started, help you improve your skills. And so today we are going to be talking about all things limited palette. Excited to talk about that. Why should we use a limited palette? How can it help us? What do we need to know about it? And so I'm excited about that. So if you're joining us in the chat, say hello. And we have someone in there already. Nestor, good morning. Glad you're with us. Hello. Thanks for saying hi. And let's see here. So the sun just brilliantly came out, and that happens in plein air painting. It was cloudy. It snowed last night on the patio here, so I wasn't quite sure. Can you see everything? Just let me know. This apple is going to be fun to paint today. So we're going to do two different apples with two different limited palettes. All right, so we're going to kind of do that in 5 or 7 minutes, and then do that in 5 or 7 minutes using two different limited palettes. All right, and I'm going to explain to you what a limited palette is if you don't know already. And all right, so here we go. Hey, I always show the good morning, AZ. Good to have you, buddy. Thanks for joining us. And I always show the painting from last week. Here, hold on. We were doing that fall harvest scene and struggling through that, but I wanted to show you my next long form YouTube video coming out is going to be on aspen trees. And I'm sorry I'm running behind. One of our subscribers, Deborah, she asked me, he's like, hey man, where's your mountain videos? When are we getting those again? I was up yesterday filming this. And so in about a week or so, there we go. In about a week or so, this video will come out. It's hard to get that on there, but that was real fun. It was cold up there, but there's still some color. There's still some aspen color. And there's some snow, so that was real fun. But look for that video in about a week or so. And I sure appreciate you guys watching those videos. But that's what I did. And I'm running a little behind with those mountain videos because I had to get some more stem cell injections in my back. Old hockey playing injuries from the past. Getting old, man. But anyway, hopefully that helps. So, hey, grab your drink of choice and let's talk limited palette. Let's get to work here. And if you're joining us on replay, leave us a comment, say hello. And if we're just meeting, haven't met before, I'm Terry, and I love painting God's beauty outside up in the mountains and getting it on canvas. It's such a challenge. It's such a journey. And I just love it. And I hope you do too. So that's why I'm here to help you on your journey, if I can. So I say we start. What do you say? What are you guys painting this week? Let me know what you've been painting this past week or this weekend. What are you painting? What subject matter? Like I said, I just love painting aspen trees. People love to view aspen trees, aspen paintings, I'm trying to say, and they love to buy them. I think almost every aspen painting that I've made, people have bought them. So that's pretty cool. So Nestor says, way cool. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was hard, man. It was cold up there. I'm not completely happy. I might touch this up just a little bit, the aspen painting in the studio, but not too much. You don't want to overwork it, but you always wish you had done a couple little things different, but it's very impressionistic. Let's say that. So, okay, here's what we're going to do. All right. So, and I want to say this from the beginning. I'm no limited palette expert, and there are many limited palette options out there and many suggestions. So if you have one that works for you, or if you have comments, feedback for other people that are going to watch this later that are just beginning, throw it in the comments and let me know your experience with limited palettes, what you think about them, and what you like to use for a limited palette. All right, Nestor says he's painting a 1.5 by 2.5 bookmarks in watercolor. Nice. I've been always wanting to try watercolor, so I'd love to see that when you're done. Show us a picture. That's cool. Okay, so I want to say first that, okay, hold on. We got a quote of the day. We got to stay positive here, okay? Here's our quote of the day. Direction determines destination. Direction determines destination. And so that was by Jim Rohn. Does anybody remember Jim Rohn? Kind of showing my age, but he was a motivational speaker. He was like the first Tony Robbins. I think he was Tony Robbins' mentor. But direction determines destination. And what he says is that 5 years from now, you're going to arrive. The question is where? Question is where. So whether it's your marriage or your kids or whatever you're dealing with in life, or as a painter, we're going to arrive somewhere in 5 years. And so that's why we're out here, man. I like to have a plan. I like to have a plan so that my destination is already determined and I know where I'm going. So I hope that's the same with you too. So that's our quote of the day. And let's see what else. I left this painting out last night, and it kind of got a little bit of frostbite, if you will. So I'm just going to, before we start, I'm just going to do some touch-ups, and the sun just kind of brilliantly came out, which is so cool. So I'm just going to get a little bit of color back on here. And as I always say, you know, it's all about color relationships. It's about the color next to the color, right? So that's why I'm taking a second here to put this color in, because it's all about the color next to the color. So I want to paint the apple, but in order to read the apple accurately, I got to know what's around it. And this is a very light, bright color, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So let's get after it, man. And this live show is brought to you by the new Facebook group called Learning Plein Air Group. Go over to Facebook, join us. We got a lot of people from different states and countries. It's a small group, but I hope it gets bigger. It's pretty fun. Hey, Eric, glad to see you're on here. Eric is from Ohio. He is an SEO website expert. And he's really getting fired up about plein air painting. So I'm just going to check out, get my mug in here. Playing with my limited palette, I go back and forth between a split palette and just 3 colors. I've been hearing some folks say they prefer permanent rose and alizarin crimson. Okay, cool. Yeah, I would like your feedback and your suggestions. And that's the cool thing with limited palettes. You know, let's just discuss real quick what it is. Okay, a limited palette is basically limiting your colors to generally 6 or less colors, plus a black or white. So what I have today, I'm going to do 2 different limited palettes, and I'm going to paint this in one and paint that in the other. And so for the first one, I've got yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, and ultramarine blue. All right. So generally, you know, 6 colors or less. So this is 3 plus a black and a white, right? 3 color limited palette right here. And you want to pick one of the primaries, right? So a yellow, a red, and a blue. Any version of one of those primaries. So if you're just beginning, that's what a limited palette is. And, you know, we could talk about real quick, like, why would you want to do a limited palette? Let me just check out what Nestor is saying real quick. I like a split palette as it gives me brighter values. Yeah, right. So that leads me to my next point. Thank you. Is just like, why would you use limited palette? You know, kind of like, Terry, why are you taking my colors from me, man? Well, I'm a colorist too. And it's kind of like fasting, you know, when you go off all your colors, but there are benefits. So color harmony is one, color harmony. So when you use just a few colors, it kind of squashes down, if you will, your color harmony, which is good. And it prevents you from kind of, you know, rapid spraying these colors all over the place and losing color harmony in your painting. So when you just get down to 3 colors or 6 colors, you can really tell what your color harmony is. And like Sergei Bongart, the famous Russian impressionist, said, is that every great painting has a main color running through it. So that's one benefit. Another is you learn your values and you learn color mixing. Okay. So just putting color out from a tube from the factory, that's one thing, but how did we get to that color, right? So you have to make zigs and zags. And so that forces you to process, and it forces you to learn, and it's very, very challenging, and it's fun. And so those are some other reasons, you know, why you would do that. And, you know, I guess another one would be if you're packing your gear out, it can be a way to simplify, right? It can be a way to have less weight, less tubes, less gear, less supplies. If you just have 3 colors versus 15, right? I mean, my normal palette, I don't know if you can see it here, but I've got yellow ochre. I've got permanent rose, alizarin crimson, cad red, cad orange, cad yellow medium, cad yellow light. I've got 2 different manufacturers of cad yellow light here. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but I'm a Utrecht fan, but I'm not happy with the cad yellow light that Utrecht provides. I'm not happy with it at all. It's too much like the cad yellow medium. I like the Gamblin cad yellow light. Now it's about $20-30 more a tube, but it's got that brilliant, pungent, cool green pop that I like cad yellow light to have. You know, Eric's saying I still have to have my color wheel with me though. Yeah, I know, man. That's okay. That's good. I mean, just after a while, the color wheel will appear in your brain. But, you know, I think it's important to use the color wheel. But like I always say, man, paint with emotion, paint from your heart, paint with passion. You know, not just your brain. You know, but for sure, Eric, that's pretty smart. You know, when you're just starting out and learning things like that. So, All right, here we go. Let's do this, man. I'm excited because we've got a light and shadow painting here. And, you know, you could save money too with limited palette. Potentially, you could save money. I'm not really convinced, you know, that you can, but you might be able to. So that's another benefit. Okay, so here's my limited palette, right? And what this is going to give me is kind of an old world, a muted painting, because I didn't choose a vibrant, bright chromatic yellow. I didn't choose, you know, the hottest, warmest red that I could choose. And then I just chose a middle ground violet, ultramarine blue, right? So that's what I did there. And then black and white if I want them. I don't like black. I mean, I like black, but I don't have it on my palette. The Impressionists, Monet and them, they took it off their palette because that color doesn't appear in nature, and they made their darks with other colors. So I'm not going to use the black unless I really have to. So let's see. Let's get going here. Okay, so let's just try to mix. I'm going to show you. I've got this portable, like, cheap palette that my daughter uses, but I'm hoping that you can see my color mixing a little better. So AZ says more tonal. Yeah, this will be a more tonal. This one here will be more tonal. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go for pop and vibrancy on that one. So maybe you can suggest or guess which colors I'm going to choose for that one. But there's a 3-color limited palette. I'm going to talk to you about a 6-color limited palette next. Let's just get some paint on here, man. And I always start with my darkest dark and the shadows. So I'm going to mix up the shadow portion of that apple and paint it right now. And so this is weird, man. I'm not really used to doing this, but let's go with, I want to make a green. Okay. So in order to get green, you got to think about your color wheel, right? It's blue, and it's yellow. So there's my green family right there. I just kind of got my green family going. But now the question is it lighter or darker? Is it warmer or cooler? You know? So that's what I got to kind of figure out. So I'm just going to put it on there. Let's just put it on there and just see, you know, let's just see and test it. Okay. I'm going to follow the shape of the shadow right there. It's all my pieces, my placement, proportion, perspective, all that stuff I'm thinking about. It's pretty close, but what if we put just a little more blue, just make it a little bit darker just for fun, just to darken up, just a hint of alizarin crimson in there. Okay, alizarin crimson. So red would be the complementary color of green. So I can change my vibrancy. I can change the neutrality, the tonalism of it, you know, by going back and forth from opposites on the color wheel. Okay. What's Nestor saying? Hey, I use lamp black as a warm blue. Yes. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about blacks. I've got ivory black on my palette, and it is said to be a cooler bluish black. And I'll talk more about that, but let's just get this in real quick. I'm going to try to do this quick. Kind of a core dark. The apple is darker up there. So that's why I put that red in there and more blue, because I'm seeing it as just darker up there at the top of the apple. And that creates nice contrast between light and shadow. That's what I'm trying to do by doing that. And then in here, we have that halftone I always talk about. So I'm going to go into my yellow ochre, because this is more the color of the actual apple, you know, is down in here. Okay. And even more. Notice I haven't dipped into titanium white yet. I have not dipped into that on purpose. I'm going to put some more of this right there. So that's warmer. That's cooler. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm just talking you through it. Warmer, cooler, but it's all in shadow. Okay, real quick, let's mix up that beautiful violet shadow color. Okay, we should be able to do that very easily with this palette. All right, and I'm sure you can figure out why, but look at that shadow. It's very cool. Okay, it's one of the coolest things. I always compare this to that. This is cooler. This is darker. This is cooler. So I'm going to go into ultramarine blue. I'm going to go into titanium white and alizarin crimson. So that's kind of easy, really, to mix up that shadow color with this limited palette. So you know, that limited palette, it's not so limited after all. You know, it's not so limited after all. You can get there. You can get those colors, but we're going to talk more about it, you know, So there's that shadow color right there. It's cast shadow. That's what that is from the apple. Cast shadow. So that's nice. We have nice contrast here. And then let's just go ahead and this is pretty close, I guess. Let's put the light in because I really won't know if all of this works. You know, with plein air painting, it's like a puzzle. A lot of times you don't really know until it's all done, you know? So that's why you don't want to focus on painting a thing in your brain. You want to paint the piece, the color, the value, the temperature in the right place. And so let's put the light on. So how would you mix the light portion of that apple right there with the colors that we got? You know, take a look. How are you going to mix up the light part of that apple where the light is shining on it? All right. So if you said start with green and then maybe add some titanium white and make it more yellow, you're correct. So let's go with, let's just start over here and let's just go green. Okay, let's go green. A little bit of titanium white. Let's see what we got. Okay, now like AZ was saying is, here's the thing is I'm gonna have trouble reaching that color with the palette that I chose. Okay, I can get the darks with this palette, but I'm gonna have trouble getting my power color. So it's just not gonna happen, but it's gonna give this apple kind of an old world tonal kind of a look. So check it out. I'm gonna try to get as close as I can. So more white and then a lot of yellow ochre. That's almost like as bright as I can get it, but it's not gonna be bright enough, but I'm gonna try. Okay, right there. And I'm just following the shape of the light on the apple. Just following the shape of the light, sticking with my plan here. Okay, so you can see it's not that brilliant, is it? I don't know if I can get more punch or more power from yellow ochre. That's about as much as I can go. I'll try to do it. I'll try to get some more here. That's more on the side of yellow ochre. Let's see what happens here. So like right here. Okay, so we stepped it up a notch. So what I did there was I just added more yellow ochre. So okay, you know, a little tip here. If you want to lighten something on your palette, you're using limited palette, you either add a yellow or you add a white. Be careful about adding a white to lighten something because what does it do? It cools it. It cools it. You're right. So in order to lighten something, you want to add yellow or white. In order to darken something, use your earth tones or your reds, and that's how you darken it. Let's just get this on here real quick. I'm dipping in the wrong palette here, and then that's nice. Okay, that's nice. It's getting somewhat of a brighter color, so I like that. So there we go, like that. And then let's just lastly put in the stem, and then we'll switch palettes real quick and go to the other apple. So for that stem, I could again do just a deep, dark, rich purple color. I'll do alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue. That's how I would get the deep, rich stem color there. And then I would just put it on just ever so gently, right like this, like that. Okay, so now we have light, shadow, cast shadow. We could even try to do a highlight real quick. So let's just try mostly titanium white, maybe a little yellow ochre. Let's just go like right here, real thick paint, and go like right there and just put the highlight on right there. Okay, so I think that's good for that apple. Let's switch palettes and let's talk some more about limited palettes. All right, so here's what I'd like to kind of convey. So, you know, you got, okay, I'm going to use the Zorn limited palette or the We Met limited palette, or the, you know, the Bongart limited palette. There is no right limited palette. You got to experiment and change and do what's right for you, I think. And then ask yourself these questions. Everybody talks about, okay, what's the right limited palette? Which one are you using? Which, you know, it's like, well, why don't we start by asking ourselves, what am I trying to accomplish, right? What season is it? Is it winter? Is it summer? Do I want a warmer painting or a cooler painting? Do I want it to be more muted and tonal like that? Or do I want it to be more vibrant and pop? So ask yourself those questions. Change your palette depending on the weather, on the season, depending on the day. And so I'd like to submit that information to you as a way to decide how to do your limited palettes, you know? And again, We're live here. We're talking about limited palettes and plein air painting. And limited palettes are great because they get you out of your formulaic habits. And if you know anything about me, is I don't like formulas. I don't like rules. I like to free ride, you know. And so with limited palettes, just try a bunch of different things. Just try and experiment and see how it goes. And so, like for example, okay, so if you're trying to paint a portrait of a lady, and you're using these three colors right here, and you're trying to do a realism portrait, it just probably isn't going to happen, right? It isn't going to happen because you're not going to be able to get the range of flesh tones with these three colors. You know what I mean? However, if you're an impressionist like me, I'm not so concerned about photographically making this an apple. I want to make an impression and a mood, right? So maybe if you're doing that portrait of a face, you would use a 6 or 8 color limited palette, right? So daily paintings from AZ. I like that. Have you tried that before? Daily paintings? I never really have gotten into that habit. But I think that's a great way to train and a great way to improve your skills quickly. So thank you for that, AZ. Okay, let's go to this one right here. And let's change our palette. And what else do we need to talk about here? I think that was a good way to get across to you, how you choose your palette is think about the lighting, think about the season, stuff like that. And here's an important point here. Let me get a swig of coffee and I'll throw this out at you. Okay, so if you're painting poppies in the field or just summer vibrant sunset colors or a sunrise, you're going to want to, in order to get those power colors, you got to select a limited palette that's going to have more chromatic colors. It might seem obvious to you, but some people may not get that. But you got to go with pure yellow, pure red, and pure blue. And the further you get away from those colors of pure red, pure yellow, and pure blue, the harder you're going to have mixing values and colors and getting back to that vibrancy and chromatic and power punch. And so for me, if I would choose CAD yellow medium, I would choose CAD red, and I would choose ultramarine blue as just a basic, vibrant, chromatic, a lot of colors, a lot of flexibility. It gives you more range by doing that. But when you go outside of those colors and use yellow ochre and maybe like phthalo blue, you're going to have trouble controlling things and getting that power pack of colors. I think that's an important point there. Let me know what you think. But we'll talk about blacks next. But let's do this, okay? All right. I got to do this quick because I want to respect your time. So let's go like this. I'm going to leave that there. And let's just go with the Utrecht CAD yellow light that I don't like. It just isn't bright enough for me, chromatic enough for me. I'm going to complain to the manufacturer. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, let's go with that as my yellow. And then for my, I almost lost her there. Then for my red, I'm just going to go with, I'm going to go with CAD red. Okay. I'm going to go with CAD red because what I want to do here is, like I was just saying, is it's a sunny day. There's a lot of vibrancy, a lot of chroma, in this scene. So I'm going to try to reach it with my color as best I can. I'm going to go with, for a blue, let's go with cerulean blue just to see like what it does. This is a very cool greenish blue color, cerulean blue. Let's put that there like that and see how it goes. Okay, let's get to mixing real quick. And we'll use white and we'll use black again. Okay, so let's see what we can accomplish, with that type of a scenario right there. Okay, so we're going to paint the same apple, same thing, same process. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's make it like a speed drill, man. All right. How did Bob Ross hold this thing? Like this? Okay, here we go. You ready? All right. I'm not going to talk much. I'm just going to mix. All right, here we go. Let's do the shadow. So I'm going to go with cerulean blue. And I'm going to go with a little bit of yellow to make our dark green. I'm going to go with red. Okay. Want it to be, that's pretty close. I'm going to do a little more blue. There we go. A little bit of terp to loosen it up a little bit. And so I'm already noticing this is, just a little more vibrant of a shadow. It's just got a little more vibrancy to it. So let's go with cerulean blue, a little more yellow. Okay, a little bit of red because that's too potent. A little more cad red in there. There we go. And just right there in the middle, putting a little more red, a little warmer. Warm it up for that halftone a little bit right there. And then remember at the top, it's the core dark where it's really, really dark up there where no light gets right here. I'm almost just using, look at that. That was pure, almost pure cerulean blue, but I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to take this other color and mix it into the cerulean blue. So if you don't like something, blend. As an impressionist, blending is a really, really good skill that you need to learn. So watch, I'll do it again. Pure cerulean blue, put it right there. And it's kind of cool. You just take the other color and mix it into it and leave some of it there, kind of for those happy accidents, that impressionistic look that they used to do with that optical effect. Okay, so now the shadow, we can do that in a minute. Let's do the light portion of the apple, and we'll keep going here. Let's talk about black while we're doing that. Okay, so I'm using ivory black. It's made from elephant tusks, as I understand it. It's made from elephant tusks. And let me just see. All right, Nestor saying my limited palette is not so limited in that I use 6 colors primarily, but have 3 pop colors for extra punch when needed. Okay, I like that. So I think that's perfect. 6 is really limited. I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 colors on my normal palette plus white. So 6 is, I think that's perfect. Okay, so look, so here's another 6 color limited palette you could consider. 2 yellows, 2 reds, an earth tone, and a blue. So let me go over that again. 2 yellows like cad yellow and yellow ochre, 2 reds, alizarin crimson and cad red, and then burnt umber. I don't use burnt umber, but I always say I'm gonna, but I never do. But it's a nice earth tone that's a reddish brownish earth tone. You could make the same color with orange and alizarin crimson. You could make a burnt umber. And then so your burnt umber can act as the black, right? And then you have cerulean blue. So the burnt umber and the cerulean blue make your dark, right? And you've got your yellows, you got your reds. That kind of palette, I like that 6 color palette because it gives you, like Nestor was saying, the cad red gives you the pop, the cad yellow gives you the pop. But then you've got your earth tones and your darks to get those shadows in. So, but back to black. Ivory. Ivory black. According to Gamblin, it's a semi-transparent and it has moderate tinting strength. What I like about ivory black is it's not going to send your colors crazy. It's just going to be a nice middle, moderate tinting strength. It's going to act as a nice mixing color and not go like when you take phthalo blue and white, it just goes crazy iceberg blue, right? It's not going to do stuff like that, whereas other blacks can. And it's semi-transparent. It's not opaque. So like Mars black is opaque, as I understand it. Mars black is a synthetic iron oxide that is opaque, and it has a very high, it's like a strong opaque black, really. It's stronger, and it has a stronger mixing and tinting strength than ivory black. So there you go with that. If you have disagreements, totally cool. I know that Nestor, you use Mars black, so let me know what you think. But I think ivory black for me, when I do use black, or when I used to, it was more of a cooler, bluer black that had nice mixing strength. But hey ho, let's get the light in, man. Let's get the light in really quick here. I'm gonna switch brushes, and got a brand new brush this week, silver brush, and it is a number 8 synthetic. I also got a very cool brush. I'm a big brush guy, but I got this little dagger striper brush that's angled. Can you see it? Over there. Sorry, over there. There we go. It's angled. And I was doing those aspen trees a little bit, the outline with that. It was pretty cool. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to go titanium white. I'm going to go pure cad yellow. I'm going to take a little bit of green from the pile that I had. And I've got that. And I'm just going to kind of go, man. Power color. It's really, really, but I'm going to do more titanium white. It's a little bit lighter. So there we go. And right there. Okay, a little more titanium white. Right there. Okay, see the difference? You can already see it, right? It's so powerful. It's got that pop that we were missing with the, it's not like we were missing it. This just gives you a different look. Okay, that's yellow ochre. That's cad yellow medium for the light. Cad yellow medium and titanium white. That's how I got that. So that really gives me that range right there, So if I'm doing a limited palette and coming out on a day like today and the sun's shining, it's bright, it's brilliant, and I need to pop some colors like that, I'm going to put cad yellow medium on my palette, not yellow ochre. If it's cloudy and if it's like partly snowing or something, I'm going to use yellow ochre all day long because I want muted tones. I want to squash down my values and I want to squash down my color popping. So does that make sense to you? All right, leave me a comment, man. If you're getting value out of this, you're getting any tips, just say, hey, thanks, man, or hello, anything. There you go. And we can go into more cad yellow right here and just experiment a little bit. Just like, that's almost pure cad yellow, just to pop it right there, just to see what we can do. You can always dial it back. I like to push my colors because you can always tone it down. You know what I mean? But if you walk away with a boring, muted painting, that's fine if you're trying to do that. But if it's a sunny day and you missed all those colors, that's a shame, That's just kind of how I think about it. So there we go, man. And then our dark, our little core, we would just go back into that dark color, alizarin crimson, blue, whatever you wanted, and then just put that right there like that. Okay. We did not do the shadow. Let me just do the shadow real quick. That's kind of the obsessive compulsive component in my personality. We got to get her done. You know what I mean? But let me know what else you think about limited palette. What have we missed? What are we? Daggers are great. Brushes. I've never used a dagger before ever, but man, I was loving it. I was like, I'm a big number 12 filbert guy, but when you got to get in tight and do some tight stuff, that dagger brush was really cool. I like how the synthetic, I like the bounce. I like how it responded on the canvas. You know what I mean? As he's saying, just wipe it off and start over. I like it, man. I like it. Just wipe it off and start over. Don't be afraid, to do that. That's important. I think we were talking about that. If you're going to be a successful artist, you got to be willing to scrape. You got to be willing to start over. You can't get too attached to where you're like just so nervous about making this masterpiece. So thank you, AZ. Good point. You got to be willing to blend, willing to scrape, and willing to start over. So that's pretty powerful. This is probably a little too dark right here. We can blend right here between light and dark a little bit, right here, and just kind of play around, bring some of this light into the dark like this, and just have some nice brush strokes that show up like that. We do the same thing here. Just kind of blend, play around a little bit with the light and shadow. That's fun. But yeah, let's just knock out this cast shadow real quick, and then we can get on to talking about some other stuff here as we finish up, like a Q&A and stuff like that. But there's our cast shadow, man. We did it. We got it in there. So it's some nice harmony. You can definitely see more pop with this brighter limited palette. I really do love the muted tones and the old world look of alizarin crimson and yellow ochre. I like that quite a bit. And I did a still life one time. It's hanging in my house with those colors as part of my apprenticeship in Russian impressionism, and I still like that painting. But so hey, let's move on here. But welcome again if you're just joining us. We're just kind of doing live stuff and talking about a limited palette, and let's just take that off right there. We got the painter's tape on there, and we can kind of look and assess and analyze. So yeah, you can do a 12 color limited palette. I know that isn't very limited, but Nestor uses a 6 color limited palette. And I think if you're just beginning, I think like Eric was saying, with his limited palette, I really like 3 colors and a black and a white. That's my suggestion if you're just starting plein air painting, because so it'd be cad yellow, it'd be ultramarine blue, and cad red or alizarin crimson, because it's really going to force you to zig and zag and get those colors and learn how to change the values and the colors with just those. And you will learn quite a bit, and you'll learn quickly, and you'll learn to make some beautiful paintings, So change it up. Look at what you're painting outside. Consider your light, consider the season, consider where you live and what you want to accomplish, what you want your painting to look like. So, hey, let's go into a quick Q&A, man. Do you guys have any comments, suggestions, or questions like about anything you're struggling with? Let me know. And we'll just take a minute or two to do that. I'm just checking the chat real quick. And Nestor says, I still haven't painted plein air. I still haven't painted plein air. That's okay, Nestor. I mean, you don't have to, man. What we talk about here, truthfully, can help any painter because we talk about color theory. We talk about composition. We talk about design. We talk about, all the edges and lines and shape and value. And so that's fine. But I was the same way. I was telling last week, I started taking classes at the Art Students League of Denver. I was painting figures and I thought I might want to get into like figurative or portraiture painting people. But one thing led to another and I got outdoors. So maybe one time you will too. But I will say this, Nestor, I think I would submit this to you and to anybody who's listening who hasn't plein air painted yet. I think that plein air painting can help you become a better studio painter. You've probably heard that before, but that's just my belief. And I really think it can because there's something about the colors out there that are different from the colors in there, right? But that's just something to consider. But I want to. Yeah, you should, man. I mean, just start simple. I'm on my front porch, man. It doesn't have to be complicated. I've got a free unlisted private video that I always talk about. I'll put the link in the description on setup and supply. So it's a little kind of too much really, but I go through A to Z on how to dress for plein air painting, how to put your paintings in the back of your truck or your car and get them home safely. And I talk about easels and everything else. And so and that gives you access to my newsletter that I put out in our community there where I give tips and techniques. So Eric is saying, what are the mediums you are dipping into there? Yes, keen observation, Eric. I've changed. I used to use, let me just take a minute here. Over the summer, I was using Liquid Impasto by Winsor & Newton. And I think you were maybe aware of that, but that's $13 a tube. That's a healthy, non-solvent medium. And I really like it. But what I don't like about this, Eric, is that if you put too much of this out on your palette, it's toast. It like hardens into like cement. And that really kind of buns me off, truthfully, because I don't like to waste and I don't like to pay money. And it's hard to know, like, okay, how much do I put out, because I don't want to waste it or have it go in the garbage. So I used to use that. I still got it and I'm still going to use it because I love the buttery texture and the feel of it. And I love how this helps you show and see your brush marks. And that's my style, Deborah's on and let's see what AZ is saying first. Sorry, I got to get my ugly mug in here. While camping, I did a study of pinyon trees. What colors? Yeah, what colors for pinyon trees? I think is what you might be. I've got pinyon trees right out here. I mean, if you're asking like what colors to mix those, I mean, it's first of all, step one is like, what family is it? It's green. Depends what kind of day, right? If it's morning, is it in light? Is it in shadow? But start with your greens and then pinyon trees change color, as you know, AZ, depending on the light, depending on the season. So are they going to tend toward more orange? Maybe I use cad orange in my pinyon trees. And then for the shadows of the pinions, ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, alizarin crimson. Make them colorful, man. Make those pinions colorful because they are. And Deborah's saying, I finally caught you live and it's almost over. It's okay. You can watch it on replay too, Deborah, but I'm glad you're with us. And we'll hang on for another minute here. But Eric, back to your question, man. So I don't have the bottle, but it's Gamblin Galkid. So I was using Galkid Light and Galkid. And so this is just liquid Galkid. As I was telling people, when I was trained, I used Copal. I don't even know if they sell it anymore. It's like rat poison. And I love like the syrupy, feel of the liquid with my paints in the middle to later stages. I just like it. It just fits my style. Alla prima, impasto, wet over wet, nice juicy strokes. Mix it all up. And so this I really like for that effect. So this is Gamblin Galkid. So I used Galkid medium, and then I used regular Galkid. It's a solvent. It is. You got to open your windows in your studio or use it outdoors because this can be a little bit, fumigation factor, if you will. But I really like the feel of this with the paint. It just juices it up, man. And it's just got that nice syrupy feel to it, and I just like that. I like how it feels. So that's what I'm using there. And any other questions, shoot them at me, or comments on limited palette. I just really want to encourage you and really encourage myself. Next time I go out, or next time or two, I'm really going to try to use limited palette, especially in the wintertime here, because there's a lot of moody skies and cloudy skies where it's just cool to scrunch down your values and your colors. And then people look at your painting and they see that harmony and they're like, oh, that's so cool. That's neat. How did you, and they don't really know what the secret was. It was a limited palette. So, hey, Eric is saying, while they aren't the same paint experience, I'm getting so much practice mixing and painting plein air with gouache. Much faster cleanup. Pack and go. I can paint literally anywhere with it. I've been seeing Eric is in our Facebook group, and I really appreciate him posting those gouache paintings he's doing plein air. Gouache is a medium that's kind of like, what would you say, Eric? Like a combination of like, gouache is weird because my daughter just started using it, but it's like watercolor, but it's not. And it comes in these cool little packets. But like Eric is saying, it dries quicker, I think, right, Eric? And then Eric's going to Europe, as I understand it, for a trip, and he's going to bring his plein air setup and his gouache painting. So I'm curious how that's going to go for you, and how you like that. But there's an artist called Scott Christensen. Look him up, Scott Christensen. He's a master, and he's been doing a lot of gouache paintings. Gouache. I'm saying it wrong too. I think like I say gouache, I think it's gouache, but he's been doing a lot of those paintings in the past year or two, and they're just beautiful. He's an oil painter, but he started reaching out to the gouache. Would you say gouache? I say gouache. What do you say? You say tomato? I say tomato. Eric is saying, yeah, opaque watercolor. I use tubes. Yeah, I love the portability. Yeah, that's a good point. The portability, they're light. Okay, so oils, they're heavy. The tubes of oil paint are heavy. The gouache, however you say that, is more. It's just in these little packets, and it's just super light. So especially if you use limited palette, right, Eric? 3 of those, you don't even know you have them. So, but yeah, if you have any other questions, fire them away. Deborah is saying, what tripod do you use? Yeah, bought a new one and snapped off. Okay, so I used to use a Julian French box plein air easel for years. I had it for 15 years. It's kind of the gold standard, the old go-to for plein air easels. I know Eric. I was talking to him. Eric is in our Facebook group, and he uses a Strada easel, which is like top of the line, very nice easel. This right here is an On Plein Air Pro. On Plein Air Pro. So you can go to the website. They have two different easels, 2 or 3 different easels. I like it, Deborah. I got it because of my back. It's lighter. So this whole setup weighs about 10, 11 pounds. The French box easel can weigh about 15 pounds. Like I go up, right? I go, as you guys know, I go way up. And so I don't like to be hauling, 15, 20 pounds, 25 pounds of stuff, especially in the snow. This is really light. The thing you got to do, Deborah, if you get one of these, I know Dan, Dan from South Dakota, the guy that was in that video, the top 2 beginner struggles, that video we did. Dan just bought one of these, but what he does is he hangs something. This is like a camera tripod base, okay? And he just hangs, let me just show you this. He hangs something heavy from it so that can you see that a little bit better? He just hangs something heavy from it so that it doesn't blow away. And it's basically got a tripod, a camera tripod base, and then this snaps off, okay, like this. So that's how that works. And then I like to carry it, like if I'm up on a mountain or whatever, I'll just carry this like this. I'll turn it this way and I'll carry it back with me, holding onto it like this. But that's what this is right here. It's just a camera tripod base, and then this just snaps in. I really like this easel. I forget how much it was, but I want to say like $300 maybe or something like that. But it's a cool little setup. I like it. I like the lightness of it and the portability of it. It comes with a bag that you can put on your back, on your shoulder. So does that answer your question? Does that help you out? But yeah, I like French box. I also had a Soltech easel. I'm sorry, I'm not a Soltec fan. It was my favorite easel, but something went wrong with the legs, like yours, Deborah. And he sent me a part, and I don't want to be too negative, but it's really hard to fix if it breaks. So Eric is saying I only got the Strata for compact design, so I can carry it across Europe to journal our trip and paint. Yeah, the Strata clearly is it's like a little laptop, suitcase type easel that is easily portable, not too heavy. What does that thing weigh, Eric? Do you know? I don't think it's too heavy either. Millie, come here. I think it weighs like 10 pounds or something like that. But an easel is a very personal choice. You just think about what you want. Pochade boxes or small pochade boxes are a good way to go when you want to start and you want to just kind of start small and easy with setup. And those are just those little suitcase type things that fold open and you put your canvas on them. Again, my video covers that, but you don't have to have a big apparatus like this, really. You can start small with things that you can get at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or just whatever art and craft store you have. So that's what I would do if I was a beginner. But Deborah says I use a Gorilla. Yeah, the Gorilla, exactly. And a Soho with yep. I think those are two awesome choices for beginner plein air painters is the Gorilla box and the Soho easel, Pochade Soho, I think is what you're talking about, Deborah. So, hey, Corey, how's it going? Glad you joined us. Corey's from like Colorado, I think, but lightweight tripod, me, photo backpacker S. I have not heard of that one. Is that a good one? It's meant for camera, but it works great and is really light. That's cool, Corey. I like, I'm all about lightness. I got a bad back and I just got to have light stuff. I really do. The negative of that stuff is if you have a windy day, like with plein air painting, you can pretty much paint in any kind of weather really, but when the wind is tough. And so what I liked about the Julian French box easel is it was very stout, very steady. In that video that Dan was in where we did top 2 beginner mistakes, he had the Julian French box and I had this, and it was windy like a storm. Like we were way up, like 11,000 feet. And he was sitting there like la-di-da-di-da, and I was like hanging on for dear life and with this thing. So it's a trade-off. It's a negative, but the Soho is heavy on the tripod. Yeah, it's, but if you got a good back, hey, it's well made. The Sohos are very well made. So is the Gorilla box. Those are good brand names. So I like the Plein Air Pro. I really do. I like that you can put it's got a place for your terp jar. It's a plastic terp jar. Whoa. So it's light. So I like that. And it's got places for brushes. And I like the size of the easel. It packs up pretty good. So I do like it. One time I'll show you how it packs up, but this is removable. This whole, like, let me just show you real quick. This comes off, you know what I mean? Like that. And then a lid goes on top of that. So that's how that works. And then you just fold up the tripod, the camera tripod. But hey, how we doing on time? So Eric is saying that's what I do. So that's what Corey does. Let me just see if I can scroll here. Sorry, I'm on my iPhone here. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, we were able to use the iPhone. And I hate to get my ugly mug in here, but I'm just scrolling with my finger. Soho's a heavy tripod. Corey says it has a hook and I hang my pack on it for weight. And Eric says he does that too. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier, but I'm going to start doing the same thing. I've got like a little bungee cord with a hook that I'm going to really just hook my backpack, onto the camera tripod itself. But good. Thanks for your feedback, guys. I really appreciate it. That's really going to help a lot of people. So thank you. And as we're finishing up here, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, we mostly do plein air paintings up in the mountains here in Colorado, instructional tutorial demos, and we'd love to have you subscribe and join us and join the Facebook group, man. Learning Plein Air group. Hop over there and I'll approve it. We're really having some fun and getting inspired, and that's what these live shows are for, to inspire you guys. And Deborah is saying I have an art comber chair. This is to hold the French, but it doesn't fit, and it has big wheels and it's light. I've been thinking of designing my own little dolly system for that very reason. I actually use a dolly, but it's not designed to like carry all this stuff. And what I need is like a dolly that has like really big wheels that can go up a mountain and it's light. So if you want to help me design that, we can sell it and make some money. But it holds a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's the key, right? Is with this plein air stuff, you can easily get frustrated if you have problems with portability and, you know, with setup. It can be a pain. So you got to make it, you know, it's like your clothes. You got to make it fit, man. You got to be comfortable in it. So because it's going to contribute to helping you make a beautiful painting. So setup and supply is important. I appreciate your feedback. I really wish I had about 10 different easels. I could just try them all out and see which ones I like. But I really like the. I was looking at that Strata easel that Eric has. I really like that one, and I don't know. I like to paint big canvases. So here's another thing you need to think about when you buy an easel, is how big of a canvas can you fit. The thing about the Plein Air Pro is, see, I like to do 16 by 20s, 18 by 24s, and even sometimes 20 by 24. And this won't go bigger than, I think I got an 18 by 24 on it, just barely. But that's something you have to think about as well. Like an e-bike, Eric says, yeah. Put a motor on it. Yeah, like that's, now you're thinking, see, that's that website, the SEO thinking, you know, that engineering thinking coming through there. Press a button, let it zip up the hill, and you catch it. That's an awesome idea. But yeah, I hope you guys got something out of this. This was real fun with the limited palette, and I encourage you on your next plein air painting to just go out and to really just experiment, you know, with a limited palette, because I think it'll help you improve as a painter. It's kind of like one step backwards, you know, to get two steps forward. That's really how I see it. And I said earlier that it's kind of like fasting, you know, because you're taking your colors away from you, man. But really, you know, when you do like a fast or something, or a cleanse, you know, you're going one step backward to get two steps forward. So try it. I'm going to try to hold myself to it. I'm going to try to get out and limit my palette a little bit here, especially in the winter, see how you guys like it. But, I'm going to respect your time. We got a few nice strokes in there. That was real fun. And we'll leave it at that. This was another fun skills exercise. Hope you guys got a lot out of it. I want to put this video up here that I did, painted up in Telluride, near Telluride, Colorado, and it's a plein air demo. I didn't do much teaching in it, but you can see my brush strokes. And Deborah says, lastly here, I have a half-size French that will hold a big canvas. That's a good point, Deborah. So you've got the half-size Julian French box easel and a full-size. The half-size, I've got one of those too. It's lighter. Maybe I'll get back to it. I think I busted it, but that might be an idea for lightness, a combination of lightness for an easel and large canvases. But yeah, thanks, Deborah. Appreciate that. Well, hey, God bless you guys, and get out there and paint. Stay inspired. Paint from the heart. Stay motivated. Paint with passion and emotion. And check out my video. Subscribe. Appreciate your support on the channel. Watch this video next, man. Plein air demo. I'll see you over there at that next video. Thanks, guys. Take care.